All right, it's time to take a deep dive into the third roster update of the season, and it was a big one. I've already scanned it, taking a look at all the big moves. Now we're going to deep dive and look at everything position by position. Let's start at starting pitcher, as we always do, with Bieber getting another little ounce of love there, moving up to an 87. The way he's pitching, 90 is in his sights legitimately at this point. He's just been so good. I think that hit 9 still has plenty of room to grow. So, I mean, you know, we've seen it with Betts and Judge, to where you can invest in some of these lower end diamonds, and when they go to 90, they get a spike. You can make some stubs on it. So you could maybe put a few Biebers off to the side if you wanted, because I imagine they're probably at base price right now. New diamond alert, a second new diamond for the Cincinnati Reds rotation in the form of Trevor Bauer, joining Sonny Gray there, who also got a little velo jump there. He's been pitching brilliantly this year. You know, he had that great year, fell back, got traded, didn't really get back on track with Cincinnati. Now he's there. He's got a little bit of a comfort level. Kyle Boddy from Driveline, somebody who Bauer's very close with, is there. And I'm not saying that has made like all the difference or anything, but comfort level has to be at a pretty high level for Bauer. And he's really settled back in and looks a lot more like that guy who was contending for the AL Cy Young just a couple years ago. I mentioned the little velo boost for Sonny Gray. Another diamond alert, Lance Lynn, man. He's been insane. He's been pitching really well. We had him on Diamond Alert the last couple weeks. He finally gets it here. Let's go. I mean, I don't want to say finally as if they took too long or anything, but he gets it now. Hopefully you held in. You held on to your shares and you can cash in. First week of downgrades, and we saw quite a few, and they were deserved. And I like that they waited a little bit longer for that, because as a general rule, I think a skills change fostering a surge is more believable on a smaller sample than something that looks like somebody's struggling, as opposed to that necessarily being a skill change on the negative end, a skills degradation, if you will. So I think this was smart to wait a few weeks before the downgrades, but now they've hit hard. And Charlie Morton's the first one that we see here, moving out of the diamond tier. He's on the IL right now. He's just having a really tough season. He's bounced back a little bit in his last couple starts before hitting the IL, but an understandable move without a doubt. Aaron Nola's very much on the diamond watch now after a great start to the season. He's dominated the Yankees, and who did he dominate in his last outing? Was it the Orioles? I can't remember. I forget. But honestly, if it was the Orioles, believe it or not, y'all, they've been really good. They're like top 5 in WRC plus offensively on the season. It's bizarre. It's the Bizarro 2020. Up is down. Up is right, left is down. Like it's not even just direct opposites. It's completely off the map. And the Orioles offense is kind of decent. So if that is who he beasted on that last time, I can't remember who it was. I know he had the 12 strikeouts against the Yankees, but he's been out of his mind. He's really diving into his changeup usage a lot more this year, and it's been really impressive. So Nola, another good starter too. It's going to put him in the diamond realm as well. I believe he's been diamond before, right? A couple years ago, maybe last year at some point. Anyway, Buehler drops out, had to, again, hasn't been his self, hasn't been the elite Walker Buehler that we'd gotten used to last year. He's not exactly playing terribly. In fact, I think he's kind of an interesting investment if you want to buy back on the upturn, that he figures it out, smooths himself out, and gets going again. I could see that happening, especially if his price absolutely plummets here with him going down out of diamond. But, that's definitely something that we'll talk about in a future video. Corbin gets a little boost here, moves up to 83. There's some diamond potential here. I wouldn't invest in it as much as I would, say, Nola, but I do think Corbin, I think last year he flirted with it a bit. I mean, we're going on 3 years of just excellent Patrick Corbin, where he's like one of the best number 2 type pitchers in the league, and he's not even a number 2 on his own team. He's 3 behind Scherzer and Strauss. That's how deep their starting rotation is. No wonder they won the World Series with pitching like that. And he was a bullpen god for them too during that run. Dinelson Lamet just keeps living to prove me wrong and make me look like an idiot, which isn't terribly difficult to do, but he's doing an excellent job of it. I really wasn't high on him this year. My issues with him is he's essentially a one-pitch guy. I mean, he has 2 pitches, fastball, slider, but the fastball isn't even that good. But the slider is a legit ace pitch. It's hard to succeed with one pitch, though, and he's always had troubles with lefties in his career. Not this year, y'all. He's been awesome. Everything's working, and like I said, he's making me look foolish, and I can admit when I'm wrong, and I have been wrong on Dinelson Lamet. He looks awesome, and he goes up even more. Again, as far as Diamond Watch goes, let's get another 3, 4, 5 starts before I would really start pushing that. But I'm not going to say that it's going to fall. I'm not going to say that the bottom's going to fall out. The way he's pitching right now, the way he's getting out lefties more consistently, I will go ahead and take my L on that and say Dinelson Lamet, he beat me straight up. Let me take a look at his OPS against lefties real quick, too, just to highlight. In fact, he's been better against lefties this year with a 433 OPS against compared to 624 against righties. He's really working to make me look stupid, which again, not terribly difficult, but he's acing it. Carlos Carrasco gets a little boost here. He's pitching well. I think we'll continue to see him inch up. I don't think Diamond is something you need to worry about just yet. Sports Gaming, thank you for the 17 months. One of the biggest moves we've ever seen in MLB The Show upgrade history. It's not due to the points. We've seen higher point totals, especially at the lower levels. But I don't think we've ever seen somebody skip silver. Dylan Bundy goes 74 to 80, and I'm here to tell you, I agree with it. I didn't predict it because I've never seen precedent for that, so I didn't think it would be, wise to go out on that limb. It wouldn't have made any sense to me to predict that because I would have had no basis for it. I didn't know that it was something that they would even entertain. But now that I've seen that they've done it, I get it, particularly in the season that we're dealing with here. And because there are so many fundamental changes into what Bundy's doing that it's not just a hot run. It's not just a good ERA right now that's fueling him, because ERA doesn't matter for your card anyway. It has to be skills changes. He's getting away from his fastball, which isn't that good. It sits 90 to 92 and often gives up a lot of homers. That's been his issue in the past with Baltimore. But similar to Lamet, mediocre fastball, ace slider though, and he is really amping up the usage of that slider. And as you can see, it has yielded gains across the board to the point where he moved 6 points, completely bypassed silver, and here we go, having him for gold. Hopefully you held on. I mentioned him as a hold for gold all the way back when he was a 72. I didn't think it would come this quickly, but here we are today with Dylan Bundy as a gold, and it makes sense. Barrios had to come down. He's been really struggling, as has Bumgarner. Bumgarner's been one of the worst pitchers in the league. He's on the IL now. We'll have to wait to see until he comes back to determine if it's just injury that made him, that had him pitching at some of his worst ever, or if we're really starting to see a turn into the twilight of Bumgarner's career. I'm betting on the former. I think injury's playing a big role here more than him being done, but he's been unquestionably awful, and they had to give him a big downgrade here. Anthony Desclafani did get murked yesterday on Thursday, but they locked the upgrade on Wednesday. So that one didn't factor in. So you see a 6.23 ERA and a 1.31 whip. You're like, how's this guy getting upgraded? Well, they'd already put it in before yesterday's shellacking. So he gets a little boost there, but I think he's a ways away now from gold because he's going to have to work back from that disaster against the Pirates of all teams that he faced yesterday. One of my best hold for gold candidates right now is Frankie Montas. Big fan of him. He's been excellent. I'm still looking for that stamina upgrade, SDS. Help me out here. My boy needs to get a boost. He is not some 4-5 inning pitcher. My guy can go 6-7 innings on the reg. He did it last year. He's up to doing it again this year. I think he's a future gold in very short order. Speaking of hold for golds, Aaron Savali, one of my big breakout picks coming into the year. He's made me look as smart as Dinelson Lamet has made me look stupid, and he's been pitching brilliantly. And he didn't go out with Mike Clevenger and Zach Plesac, so he gets to pitch this week, which is nice. He's at 78. I'm definitely adding more to my stock and keeping what I already have of Savali. He is definitely a hold for gold. So is Max Fried, another guy I'm very big on this year, and he's been pitching excellently. He's the ace of the Braves right now because they just really don't have much else going on as far as the injuries that have been hitting. And I also think he deserves a stamina upgrade because he's going deeper into games, similar to the way Montas is. And he's been more of a standard 6-7 inning type guy as opposed to your 4-5 inning guy that we're seeing so much more of this year. Matthew Boyd had to get a hit, and frankly, I'm surprised he only got -2. He probably deserved more. He's a real frustrating watch right now. As a Tigers fan, watching him on what was it, Wednesday against the White Sox, it was a perfect crystallization of where we're at with Boyd. He could strike a guy out in one at-bat and look like an absolute stud who could get them a top prospect if they traded him, and then the next at-bat looks like he should be an A-ball. Like, the disparity between the two is positively insane right now with the way Boyd's going. He just doesn't have his mechanics right. He doesn't have his fastball command, and frankly, his slider command goes in and out, and that's supposed to be his ace pitch, so he had to get a big drop down there. Merrill Kelly's been pitching well. He and Zach Gallen are the only two pitching well for the Diamondbacks right now, kind of keeping them somewhat afloat. They're a few games under 500, but Kelly does go to silver. Gallen got nothing, and that is a big point of contention for us right now. I'm kind of surprised on that. I had him as somebody who could feasibly go gold, and he doesn't even get any boost, so I'm a little bit curious on that. I'm not deterred. I'm going to get more, in fact, especially as people are going to get mad. They're going to sell out. I'm going to be in to swoop up those shares. Samardzija goes down. Shark Map is out, but Shark himself not pitching so well. Dallas Kykel, we talked about him. He's gotten a couple upgrades this year. He's pitching really well. You know, I don't really see gold potential because he doesn't strike out enough guys. So his hit rate would have to be really, really, really excellent to push it up there, or he'd have to walk like nobody. And he only has 2 walks, so he's doing that part of it. But I think to really push gold, the hit rate would have to come way down, and that's too hard. So I would not invest in Kykel for gold. It's nice to see him back at silver, though. He's pitching really well for the White Sox. Manaea is struggling massively. He came back last year. He had a really nice run for the A's. It wasn't fully skill supported, but he was pitching well, and there was viability to it, but it didn't have me thinking that he was ready to break out this year and be like an ace. So I'm surprised he's pitching this poorly. I'm not trying to say I thought he would pitch this poorly, but I'm not surprised that he's struggling a bit. I still see him as more of a mid-rotation 4, maybe 3 on his best day type. Right now, unfortunately, he's kind of pitching like a 5-6 as he's been really struggling his way through the season. This is just a role change. Spencer Turnbull moves up 1. I think silver is definitely in the offing for him. If you want to save for silver and maybe do some affinity exchanges, you're not going to get rich saving Spencer Turnbull for silver. But if you hold on and you get a bunch of shares and he goes up to 75, 76, then you can trade those in for your team affinities. Marcus Walden is a role change. Tommy Malone's been pitching well, man. Credit where it's due. It's a little bit of a shock there. He's got 16 strikeouts in 14 innings. He's been pitching well, so he gets a nice little boost there. Steven Matz had to come down. He's had a brutal season. He got brutalized by the Nats this week. I think that's twice in a row, actually. 1 at home, 1 away. It's not been good. Jesus Luzardo only gets 2. I thought he might get a little bit more. He's, the up-and-coming youngster, pitching really well so far. That's okay. They're kind of making him earn it. Here's what I don't get, though. Why does he have an 84 stamina and Frankie Montas has a 68? That's where I'm like, that's why I know that Montas' stamina is too low, because Luzardo, a rookie who started in the bullpen pitching 3 innings each time out, has an 84. So it's just one of those things that I think they're not always zeroed in on stamina. It's kind of like defense. It gets like an update a couple times a year instead of focused on every week. I think they need to do a refresh of stamina and make sure that everybody's matching where they actually come out. Viking, thank you for the follow. By the way, this is going on YouTube. I'm also streaming on Twitch right now, twitch.tv/Spore. So for chat in the Twitch channel, that's why I'm not engaging with chat right now, because this is a YouTube video. But if you are watching this on YouTube, come out on every Friday. Well, except next Friday. I have to go to my mom's, but every Friday outside of next Friday, jump on right at 2 Central and we review the roster update. You can come and hang out with us live while we do this. Mike Fiers goes down. He gets -1, whatever, who cares? See, Perdomo gets a stamina boost, but that's just because of the role change there. So that's not me contradicting myself. They don't put a lot of focus on stamina except when it's the position changes. I think they need to focus on it for the guys who are just showing that they can go deeper into games. Kyle Freeland's been awesome. He's been a big reason why Colorado's out to a great start. He looks a lot more like the 2018 version right now, and he gets a couple point boost. I don't really think I'm going to see him go much higher. I think high bronze is his peak, so I'm not sure that there's really an investment chance there. This is a role change, though. I don't know if Beeks has started any games. Did he open one maybe? I don't know, but whatever. Roll change, roll change, roll change, roll change. You get the point. Roll change city here. Any new starters? Spencer Howard comes in as a 71. That's fair. Daniel Castano, don't know anything about him. I saw that he pitched this week, but I don't know really anything about him. Cody Poteet, cool name. Ty Block, whatever. Moving on to RP. Roll change here. Should have been a downgrade, though. If you're doing downgrades, how the hell does the guy with the 23.63 ERA not get a downgrade? And I know I said earlier, just a few minutes ago, that ERA does not drive a card's, ratings. My point isn't that because of his 23.63 ERA, the skills surrounding it are why he deserves the downgrade. But I'm surprised he escaped the wrath of dropping out of gold. That's interesting to me, especially because they were clearly on his card making the position change. So why wouldn't you also take down everything and make him like a 64 or something, which is what he is. Drew Pomeranz is boosted up 2 points. I like him for a gold. He's absolutely killing it. I like Drew Pomeranz. Gets this big 2-point upgrade here. He's got extra stamina, which I really like because he was just recently a starter and he's a multi-inning reliever. He's been pitching extremely well, dating back to his time with Milwaukee last year when he converted to relief. In fact, even if you take his time in Boston from 2018 and just look at the relief, he's been pitching like a gold from that whole point. So I think he's a big time hold for gold. He could get it as soon as next week, especially if he continues to pitch as well as we've seen. And he could be the CP very soon as well. Kirby Yates isn't exactly pitching poorly, but he's been dealing with some body soreness. They've been kind of sharing that job, and it doesn't necessarily do anything for like his rating. I'm just saying as a general point of note that he could end up becoming the closer in San Diego. He's been awesome. Great signing for them so far. Caleb Ferguson gets 1 point. Tony Watson gets a roll change. Lorenzen, man, I was expecting big things out of him. I was very big on the Reds and thought that he would be a big instrumental part of their bullpen. Nothing's working for Lorenzen so far. He needs to kind of figure some things out, and he gets a deserved downgrade. Josh Stomont was somebody I did have on my upgrades. Did I have him? Where did I put him up to? Let's take a look. Let's grade my work here, y'all. I had him going up to a 66. I undersold him. I'm sorry, Josh. I undersold you a little bit. But he got a much-deserved upgrade. He's been pitching very well, and I'm hoping to see some of my other common relievers here that I was really excited about on these next pages. Josh James gets murked. He gets a position change and a downgrade. It was deserved. Position change, position. Hey, this is a little BR god now. 73 stamina as a bronze, can pitch a bit. He's got some heat on his fastball. Put Tyler Mahle in your BR bullpens without a doubt. Upgrade for AJ Cole, cool. Hey, finally, Karinchak gets a nice boost. I still think it was a little bit undersold. I had him going up to a 68. I think the K9 should be higher, but you know what? I'm not gonna be a greedy Gus over here. We'll take the 65. We'll hang on. You know, I'm inclined to hang on. I still think 70s are coming, and I've got a handful of shares that I'm gonna put into an affinity exchange that I could even see silver this year. But let's not get greedy. He got his first big upgrade. He deserved it. It's still only 7 2/3. I don't want to go too crazy, but he got it. Position change, and there we go. There we go. This was the one I was waiting for. Thank you very much. I was 1 point too high. I had him at a 66, but I knew he had to get a big old boost. My boy Gregory Soto. Y'all, if you're not familiar with the Tigers, if you're not a Tigers fan, you don't know how important this is for us. We don't have good relievers. Ever. Even for the 10-year period where we were one of the best teams in baseball, consistently. It was never because of relief. Amazing starting rotation, an amazing lineup. And idiots like Todd Blones and Jose Valverde. Like Joel Zumaya was the last reliever we could get excited about, and then Guitar Hero ruined his career. Sick. So to see Gregory Soto doing like a Aroldis Chapman, Josh Hader impersonation has been amazing. And it's only 8 2/3, but that's a big enough sample for me to go crazy on, just because it's been so long since we've had a good reliever. I love seeing this. Big boost for him. He could keep going. I probably will affinity exchange mine, though, because that's just such a huge boost in usage, and I have a decent sample, a decent stock of him. Jordan Romano was another one. All my guys came through here. I had Karinchak, Romano, Stomont, Soto. I got one more. Let's see if he got it here. We'll keep looking, because he was down at a... oh, no, actually 62. No, he didn't get it. Matt Foster was somebody for the White Sox that I thought would get it too, but he didn't get it. That's all right. We got most of them. Berkshire Smith. Somebody mentioned him in my chat yesterday about how Berkshire Smith was pitching well too. Another one of these commons that deserves a nice little boost. Evan Marshall. I almost put him on my list. I didn't want to spend like too much time going over these common relievers, but he deserved some big love, and I think he could get some more coming soon too. He's been pitching remarkably well for the White Sox. Zach Birdie is indeed Nick's brother, and also throws remarkably hard. So, I don't know if he's exactly like his brother in terms of talent, but I think he's similar. So I think we could see some more upgrades for him. This was just a position change, but I think we could see some boosts for him. He just started his season. He got called up when Aaron Bummer got hurt. Jonathan Hernandez got a position change. So now here's another one. You did the position change, so you were on his card. How does he not get an upgrade? Those are some of the ones that I don't get. And these are minor gripes, okay? This is not like SDS is the worst, I'm so angry. It's more of like, I want to understand the process, because you obviously had to go into his card to make the change. You see these brilliant stats, bump him into the high 60s. Jonathan Hernandez has been awesome. Ronnie Garcia goes down. Just position change. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? No offense to those guys, but who cares? All right, Kenley gets a 1-point boost. Kenley, yeah, he's like there's a little bit of diamond watch here. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't go crazy investing. Like, he looks good. Like, he looks like very good when he pitches. He's not uber dominant Kenley, though. I think 83, 84 is where he belongs right now. But if he just keeps racking up quality innings, doesn't give up any hits, and say he has a couple of 3 strikeout outings and really boosts his rate, we could see diamond. So I would put like a minor stash of him away. Put like whatever your normal investment is for somebody you love. Like, let's say it's, I don't know. Some of you guys invest hundreds in somebody you really like. I'm more in like the double digits, where I get, I have like 50 Luke Voits and like 30 Zach Gallons. So, for me, something on Jansen where I'm like, stashing something would be like 6 or 7, just kind of off to the side. Bummer did get a position change, but he's on the IL right now, so I don't know why they got moved. Oh, there is Foster, but all he got was a position change. What? I don't understand that. Same with this one, position change. Although he only has 4 innings, so I'm really less inclined to go crazy on Montero. He just got back, but I am confused by this. And this, though. Alex Colomé is the closer. So why is he CP? I don't understand that. Anyway. Trevor Rosenthal got his boost into silver. This is what I was hoping for. I'm going to affinity exchange mine. I will say, though, I'll probably affinity exchange mine and then start to build back up and keep a close eye on him, because there is gold potential. He's looking a lot like prime Rosenthal now, and when he was with St. Louis at his best, he was absolutely a gold. So, if you want to keep yours right now and just hold for gold all the way through, I'm fine with that as well. Position change. Oh, I didn't see if there was any new RPs. Yeah, none of these guys really hit the radar for me. All right. Moving on to catcher. Rio Muto goes up. He's been killing it. He's been, catcher has been a nightmare in fantasy this year. Like, the top guys, as you can see, two of the most highly drafted catchers got downgraded, and they deserved it. Rio Muto was the number 1 catcher drafted, though, and he's panned out. Sal Perez started the season injured, but he's come back killing it. He got his gold, well deserved. Did we have that one this week? Pretty sure we did. Yes, we did. Okay. Want to make sure I wasn't steering you guys wrong on that one. But yeah, he gets his boost. He's killing it. You had to know when he was hitting 329 that he was a good bet to do it, because average has not been his strong suit since he's become a power guy, but he's been clubbing the ball all over the place, so he deserved it. Travis d'Arnaud is on Gold Watch. The problem is that it could take a while longer because he and Tyler Flowers really do split that job. So we're already dealing with small samples as it is, but then his is as like a 50-50 share. It's even smaller, and he got that diamond tops now. So it's like his excellence this year is kind of taken care of. That doesn't mean that they won't upgrade him. That just means that, he's going to have to earn it over the long haul. I think 2-3 weeks at the earliest, if Travis d'Arnaud continues to rake, he could maybe get gold. I would not overly invest here as a hold for gold. It'd be more of a monitor. Keep an eye on him, and then if you see that he just continues to hit like this or better, then invest. Because I think he could have a couple, I think he could have a hot week to 10 days without being fully on the radar and sending his price skyward, and then we could still get in at a reasonable price. Manny Pena gets a nice little boost there. Omar Narvaez has been awful. Speaking of fantasy catchers who are not performing well, he was supposed to at least hit. Nobody liked his framing. We thought his framing would be much worse than it was when they had Yasmani Grandal, but Narvaez has not done anything. And Castro and Stassi have been hitting well for the Angels. So they both got little boosts there. Actually, this was a big one, but it's well deserved for both. And then Pedro Severino, actually just wrote about him today on Fangraphs about how well he's been playing. And the fact is, you can see it there with the plus 14 contact against righties. He's hitting well against righties. He's normally a lefty killer. Remember his tops now last year really dominated against lefties, that silver card. But this year he's hitting righties a bit, and that's why he got a nice little boost. Any new catchers? We got Ionetta, Kratz, and Holiday. Those are more like returning catchers as opposed to new ones, but they are added back into the pool. Let's go to first base. The Polar Bear, he looks like he's coming on a bit. He's actually having a good week, so this comes at an interesting time, but it is a deserved downgrade. Sorry, Mets fans, it's just the fact of the matter that he needed to get downgraded. I thought he was overdrafted in fantasy this year, not because I think he's bad, just because I didn't think he was a second, third rounder type. I thought he was more in line with the Matt Olsons and Rhys Hoskinses of the world. Now, Hoskins has been terrible. Matt Olson actually has a weird season going so far. He's hitting like 149, but has 7 homers. So it's like he's killing you in the average, but he's giving you the power, so it's all good. This is the funny one because y'all crack me up. I saw people in other chats saying, is he going to go to Diamond? And I'm like, no, of course not. And he gets downgraded because he deserved it. He's hitting 222. And we know, and I preach this a lot, that you can't just judge a player off a batting average as like a talent measure. Like you can't just say he's hitting this batting average, so he's good, or he's hitting this batting average, so he's bad. But for MLB The Show cards, batting average is remarkably important. You can't move a guy to Diamond who's hitting 222. The optics of it just don't make sense. I see that his OBP has been great, but his slugging is mediocre at best. So of course, he was never going to go Diamond, and he did get a deserved downgrade here. I stand by this. I think they made the right move there. Josh Bell's really sputtering. He had to get boosted. He had to get dropped down a couple points. This one, okay, it's a one-pointer. I thought he was going to get to 80. You can see he got three gains there in the 2 contact and power, but then he did lose a little pop against lefties, and then the vision drop is the big one that cost us here. So he's definitely a hold for gold without a doubt, because I think another hot week, and they're home this weekend, and then I forget where they go, and then they come back home. But another weekend in Coors, just don't strike out all weekend, and I think we get to gold. You guys know this is like my biggest hold for gold from dating all the way back to the beginning of the season. My very first video, I was huge on Voit. I'm continuing to invest. I add shares like every day. Just like my morning routine is to wake up, get my Red Bull, check box scores, add a few Luke Voit shares. Excuse me. But yeah, just stay steady, y'all. Stay steady. He's doing his thing. He's not a big batting average guy, but he's hitting 275. He's one big week away. I mean, it doesn't even have to be a huge week. Like, he's incrementally getting there. If he gets give me like a 3 for 4 against lefties, get that point back, get those 2 points back in contact versus lefties, and we're getting there. But yeah, I'm definitely holding for gold. Weird season from Hoskins. You see his OBP there at 396. That's excellent. It's obscenely good when you consider the fact that he has a 179 average. It's because he's walking his ass off, but that's all he's doing. As you can see, he doesn't even have a single homer, and he has a 231 slug. So it's a very bizarre season. He even got a boost in contact against lefties. I know a lot of you love him as a BR god. I don't think this really changes him. I think he should still be a BR god for you. Even the -5s in power, he'll still hit the ball, although he does lose that 80 threshold thing. But that's not the end-all be-all. He can still hit homers even without it. I think if you love Hoskins as a BR god before this, he'll still be fine. Mitch Moreland's quietly having a really nice season for the Red Sox. They don't have much going on right now, but one thing that they do have is Mitch Moreland crushing righties. Justin Smoke, yeesh. Not great, Bob. No new first baseman. Let's go over to second base. Let's look at the newbies right off the bat. Max Schrock. What a name. LeMahieu just continues to show that last year was not even close to a fluke. He's an absolute G. Remember the idiots who said that he was a Coors creation? Good call, dummies. If David Fletcher goes diamond this year, it's the most 2020 thing ever. This year is insane because, coming in, I couldn't get fully on board with him from a fantasy perspective, but I kept one toe dipped in. I got him in 2 of my leagues only because he qualifies like everywhere on the infield and outfield. The only spot he doesn't have is catcher. So I'm not even going to pat myself on the back like, oh, I thought he was going to have a breakout and hit 3 homers already. Did not see that. I thought he would be the emptiest of empty batting averages, but he has not been. He's been really good. He's crushing it, and his defense is so good that if he has a little bit more of a power surge, this freaking dude's going to go diamond. Congrats to him, man. He's a great player. It's just weird that, he came in as an empty batting average type, kind of like what Luis Arias was supposed to be, and all of a sudden David Fletcher is chasing diamond down, and Arias is getting declines because he deserves them. Speaking of deserved declines, Altuve's really struggling. He gets moved out of the diamond tier, and it was deserved. Now, one of the things that we've been lamenting as we see the upgrades of some of our favorites, like Tim Anderson going, which I guess I spoiled there, but you probably looked at the update before you watched this video. Going from silver to gold is, we lose our BR gods. I was just talking about that with Hoskins, about how he's a BR god. We gain BR gods now that there's declines coming, though. And I didn't really hit on it with the catchers, but these two now being silver, that's huge. That's huge. You don't have to spend one of your gold rounds on them. That's massive. And I think that's the same thing here with Gleyber Torres, because you could confidently draft him as an 82 and spend one of your gold rounds, but now you don't have to. And all he got was he got a pretty big bump down against righties. I'll admit that, but he's still very useful, and I crush with Gleyber Torres. So you'll see him on a lot of my BR teams now going forward. The line drive god goes silver. We've been talking about him for several weeks. He's gotten upgrades in all 3 updates, I believe. Can we get this guy a Giants uniform, though? Hello? What's going on? I don't know. But, hey, he's been killing it. And, I haven't used him in BR, but with this big contact that he has now, I think I want to try him just to see what's what. And maybe, I think I did use him at once as a bench guy because he was a bronze, and I think he plays multiple positions. But I wonder if these new gains will make him a god. I've never really put thought into using Donovan Solano in MLB The Show until this year. Adam Frazier gets downgraded. Yeah, he's been really, really struggling. And there would be no reason to keep him up where he was. Same with my boy Arise, and I know, I was big on him, so I got to take the fat L right now. The hits just aren't falling. I will say this though, and this isn't to hedge or cover myself. I'm taking the L right now. Arise is not playing well. You can cut him in fantasy leagues that are 10 and 12 teams. 15 teams, I might still keep him, especially because he's part of the Twins offense and they're still playing him. But what I will say is that his profile still says that things can turn around. He's not all of a sudden striking out like crazy or hitting a bunch of pop-ups. He's still a big-time ground ball guy who doesn't strike out. He's making contact. The hits just aren't falling yet. They're going to start falling. But so far, it's been a big loss, and that's why he had to get a decline, and I understand it. Tony Kemp, preeminent number 2 hitter. If you follow my stream, you know exactly what I'm talking about. He gets a boost there, and yeah, it's fine. Whatever. Moving over to third base, Bregman gets a drop too. I bet so many fans are so annoyed that, are so bummed out that Altuve and Bregman are struggling. They're so well regarded after this past offseason. I'm sure everyone's been super sad. I got a question in my chat about how Robbie Ray didn't get a decline. I don't know, man. I don't know. He got lucky there. But anyway, this wasn't even a full overall decline. It was just a -10 in contact versus righties. But it really makes this card difficult to use because he's a platoon against lefties only. And so you don't want to use a diamond on that in event, BR, seasons, anything really. Sorry, Bregman. Just not really a useful card. Rendon gets dropped, which this was a pretty fast drop because he hasn't even played all year, but he has been really rough with the 149 average. So he gets a big drop in contact. I get it, but he can get it right back with a couple hot weeks. So I thought they jumped the gun a little bit, but it's in the numbers. It's there. I thought they could have given him a little bit more time to pull out of it. It's okay. Remember when Bryant was on Diamond Watch to start the season because he started off a little bit quickly, and then all of a sudden now here we are -2 at 82, and you can sell all your shares because you don't have to worry about any of that. This one's tough. I wish they'd have gone all the way with it though and make him an absolute BR god by making him a 79 because I still love hitting with Suarez, but he's off to a brutal start. He had to get declined, and I totally understand it. The better Seager, baby. Let's go. Big meme in my stream about Kyle being the better of the 2 Seagers. Hey, they're both gold now, so we're loving on both of them. I love to see it. Kyle Seager has raked in MLB The Show for I don't know how long, man. I think it was 17 or 18 where I got his card in my first pack. So, you know, you're using your silvers and your bronzes that first night, and he was killing it. Him and Brian Dozier, they were both silvers, and they were out of their mind. I kept them in my lineup for like 2-3 weeks, even as I got golds and diamonds, and then they became BR staples for me, and they ended up having some of the best numbers of any cards I had that given year, and their cards have continued to rank. Dozier not as much, I don't use them as much, but Kyle Seager cards, regardless of what they are, the flashback gold last year, the Topps Now diamond, Kyle Seager crushes. Brian Anderson, I had him on the gold. I didn't see the vision going down a little bit. That's probably what I missed as far as not getting to gold. He's still an absolute hold for gold without a doubt. Zaffy, thank you so much for the resub. But I love Brian Anderson. He's been killing it. I totally still see him going diamond, or going gold. Gold. Diamond would be really tough. I mean, let's get the gold before we start worrying about diamond. But I do like Brian Anderson. If people, and they will, when they get rid of all their shares and send his price downward, let's jump back in and get even more shares. I got to be honest, Hanser Alberto, I mentioned this at the outset. Baltimore's offense is kind of decent, and Hanser Alberto's been a big part of that. I think at this point, we got to put him on the gold train. He's at least on the map now, and I never would have thought that coming into the season. Last year, he built his whole profile on beating up lefties, and he was quite bad against righties, to be honest. Well, this year, he's still overwhelmingly crushing lefties. He's 7 for 11 against them. That's a 636 average. But he's hitting 303 against righties. He's got a couple homers in there too, so he got a little power boost the other either the first update or the second one. I can't remember which. So now all of a sudden, he's only 2 points away. So if he hits another couple homers, and he hit 12 last year, he's not power inept. But all of a sudden, it's got a little bit of a baby David Fletcher vibe because he's not quite as good defensively. And I think we have to at least consider the idea that Hanser Alberto could get gold. So keep him on your radar, and we could absolutely see it here. Whoops, accidentally hit that button. Rafael Devers had to go down, but this does make him a BR god now because his card slaps. Whoops. I'm all over the map here. This one hurts, man. from a fantasy standpoint, but it's awesome from a BR standpoint because I love Eduardo Escobar. He crushes. But yeah, he's been struggling so much he had to go down. JD Davis gets 1 point. I think I had him for 2 to 77. That's all right. He got an upgrade. He's on the radar. If he keeps hitting, there is a gold potential here, despite the fact that he has bad defense. He just hits the ball so hard that a nice week with like 2-3 homers, I think we could really get him there. So he is a hold for gold. Ronaldo Nunez, I thought, would get to silver because he's been crushing. Again, another Oriole. So the SDS is seeing what the Orioles are doing here and giving them some love that they deserve. Ronaldo Nunez is definitely a save for silver, particularly if you want to get some of those affinity points, because he could go up to 75, 76 as early as next week. Asdrubal Cabrera gets a 1 point boost there. Vlad Jr. had to go down. I mean, he did have a homer the other day in that big 14-11 game against the Marlins, but he hasn't been doing anything else all that well. Hitting the ball on the ground like crazy. He had to go to silver. He had to go to bronze. Dylan Moore has been a fantasy revelation and one of the few bright spots of the Mariners offense. He has 4 homers and 4 steals out of nowhere. He plays everywhere defensively. He seems like a BR bench guy. Edwin Rios, unfortunately, gets the contact decline there, but got enough power to end up getting a +1. This card's a BR god for your bench, and his tops now is a BR god for the middle of your lineup. He's an absolute stud. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa gets a boost. He's been stealing like crazy too. I think his 16 stealing should be boosted. Stealing is kind of like the stamina for hitters, though. It doesn't always get a lot of run unless it really stands out. I think they kind of do like 1 sweep a year. So hopefully they go through and adjust that for everybody, say in like a week or 2. And I think Kiner-Falefa would get another few points. He's not really going to go much higher than like 72 to 74. I don't really see him getting the silver without some weird power boost that we're just not going to see. And then Michael Brousseau there gets a little boost against lefties. Might be a lefty bench bat, or a lefty killing bench bat for you in BR, but that's about it. Any new third baseman? Kevin Maitan, a one-time huge prospect. Then he became a huge prospect. He really let himself go a bit. Was part of that whole issue with the Braves where they were with the cheating and everything. So they lost him, and that's how he ended up on the Angels. Yu Chang is our only new shortstop. Lindor actually takes a little bit of a hit here as he's only hitting .233. The Cleveland offense as a whole has been really struggling, so this is not terribly surprising. Tatis Jr. does get a little boost, but it's not enough to move him. He's just an absolute god against righties now. Marcus Simeon had to take a hit. He's been really struggling. It's a bummer. I love him, but he had to take a hit. I had Bichette on my first run, so I do a first run on Wednesday and then my final run on Thursday morning. On my first run, I had him at 77, and then he hit 5 for 5 that night. I moved him to 79. I should have just gone to gold. I knew it was a possibility. It's fine, though. Obviously, the market was already keen on him going gold. You could have sold your shares on Thursday night and basically made as much as you're going to make by waiting until he went gold here. Tim Anderson goes up, much deserved. He's an absolute BR stud. I would still consider taking him as an 80. It is tough to lose him as a silver, though. It's so fun to put him in your lineup as a silver. Jose Iglesias, I'm not going to say it again about Baltimore, but you know. Well, downgrade for Segura. He's been rough. Now, wait just a minute. Okay, I understand. I see that Nick Ahmed, on the whole, is not hitting that well. And maybe I got too locked into what he did this past week. But he's had an amazing... I think they could have at least done nothing then. If they weren't going to do the boost... So what I did, I was looking at a time frame. I wasn't looking at full season stats. So to be honest, I did not realize that he was this low with his batting average. So I shouldn't have put him for an upgrade. I will admit that. Ooh, Jacob deGrom scratched tonight with neck tightness. Yikes. That's tough. So yeah, I admit I shouldn't have put him for an upgrade to 79. But he should have just been neutralized because he had this huge week, and we should have been able to wait another week to kind of see where he's at. But that's okay. I'm just a Nick Ahmed homer, so that's why I'm like affected by this, even though I shouldn't be. It's like, who cares about Nick Ahmed? I do, damn it. I do. His defense should be in the 90s as well. I agree with my chat. Elvis Andrus gets a little decline, deserved. Nico, kind of figured this was going to happen. I think I put him down for a point to 75. Yeah, but he was my lowest confidence silver because I thought that he might take a hit against righties. He has a massive platoon issue where he's killing lefties and he's worthless against righties. So I thought that this might happen, and that's why I had low confidence of him actually going to a 75 there. So he's still a BR god. Eric Gonzalez out of nowhere is crushing, and the reason I'm familiar with that is because he went off against the Tigers in that Tigers Pirates series where everybody was hitting. I had him for an upgrade. Let me see where I put him. I had him going up to a 69, which is nice. They got him even higher than that, though. They gave him a real nice boost. This actually looks pretty decent now. Kingery, nothing's going right for him. I mentioned how much Philly's been struggling. He's been a big part of it. He's been one of the worst hitters in baseball, unfortunately. And Jake Cronenworth, I had him going to a 69. They put him all the way up to 70. So his card was weird. He was a hybrid player last year. He pitched and hit in the Rays organization for AAA. And so he was an RP card coming into this year. Well, obviously, he's been hitting and hitting quite well, playing first base while Hosmer was out, and now playing a lot of second base. And I think he's going to take that job away from Jurickson Profar. So he gets boosted all the way to 70. And I got to be honest, I could see some silver in the future here. So there's still 5 points to be gained there, and that's a lot of affinity points. So this is one where, again, you're not going to go and boost your bankroll a bunch via Jake Cronenworth. But if you get a bunch of shares of him and you just keep him until silver, then you can exchange those bad boys for a big gain, especially if you bought in on him as a common, which I did have him on the recommendation list. And he plays everywhere too, I think. I think his eligibility is high, so he will be an interesting BR bench bat. All right, next up here we have Juan Soto going diamond. Duh, we knew that was coming. JD's struggling a bit. He had to go down. Still a god, but now an 82, unfortunately. Tommy Pham, he's been stealing bases, but that's about it. Brett Gardner should have never been a gold, so the world is right. This one's a bummer, man. I don't want to keep saying this about Philly every time the way I am about Baltimore, but he's been one of the big reasons that they haven't been going. He's the catalyst at the top. He needs to be getting on base. He isn't. Harper and Rio Muto are really the only things going for them in Philly offensively. David Dahl, if I told you that they're going to be leading the NL West and playing really well, you'd have probably thought that David Dahl would be a part of that. Not that he's as important as Blackmon, Arenado, and Story, but you would have been like, okay, well, their offense is clicking, so David Dahl is probably crushing because he's a good player, but he's been really struggling. Jesse Winker, I love this because, yes, we do lose him as a bronze god in BR, but he gets the boost against lefties, so he makes him more usable as a full-time player in BR. And I know I'm talking about all these silvers and bronzes through the prism of BR, but that's where their best use is. Obviously, you're not using silvers in ranked seasons. Andrew Benintendi, it's been a really, 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 really rough season for him and Boston as a whole. He gets a big decline, and he's on the IL right now. Robbie Grossman's been excellent. He gets a healthy boost. He's only playing against righties, though, so I think he's really limited. He could maybe get another point and go to silver, but I think this is about it. And I had him at a 74 because he's only playing against one side. Gordon goes down a little bit with a small contact drop, and Chris Davis, really tough. I'll still put him on my bench, though. Oh, wait, any new left fielders? Cam Gibson. He's on my favorite team, and I don't know who he is. Sick fan. Here's our next Diamond Watch right here. And I didn't think he was going to get it this week, so that's fine. I had him for an 84. But he and Nola are the next big Diamond Watch guys. And you see how he got that big boost against lefties in contact. He did lose a little power against them. But if he continues to hit well against lefties, that's what's going to get us there with Starling Marte. So I would definitely invest in him. Oh, okay. Cam is Kurt Gibson's son. I think maybe I knew that in the deep recesses of my brain, but I did not recall that at all. So thank you, chat. This is the worst part of the move. This is the worst part of the roster update right here. because I'm a piece of garbage, I love when people get sprung, which means you get American League center fielder and it ends up being Springer instead of Trout. And now you can no longer get sprung. And that's a bummer. Man, the Astros got hit hard on this, man. They lost 2 diamonds and Bregman went down within the diamond. Like he got worse against righties. But yeah, everyone's gonna love this now because you see American League center fielder and you know that that life is good. But I thought it was hilarious when people got sprung. Whenever I'd see that pass across, I'm like, oh, I bet they're upset now. Because if I'm miserable, everyone else should be too. I'm actually not miserable, though. I'm playing the role of a misanthrope, but I'm really not. The SDS hit the Astros harder than Manfred. That's right, Jets. They absolutely did. Our boy Buxton gets the boost here. And I'll tell you what, this one I'm okay with from a BR standpoint because I'm still going to draft him as an 80 because his defense and speed is so good. And dating back to last year, it doesn't matter don't even look at his ratings. It doesn't matter. He's an insane hitter. I don't understand it either. He had like 40s across the board last year, and I had like a 1300 OPS with him in a shit ton of plate appearances. It was so weird, but I loved it. I'm crushing with him again this year. I'll still take him as a gold. I don't care. Victor Robles gets a little hit. He does get a little boost against contact versus lefty, but he's striking out way too much, so he gets a big decline there and goes down to a 78. This one really stings, man. I was very, very big on Mercado this year for fantasy purposes, and thus as a hold for gold being only 1 point away, and he's been a nightmare. He doesn't have 0 stats. I don't know why that's zeroed out like that, but they might as well be zeros because that's about how well he's hitting. What's my boy Jacoby got to do to get more than 1? Now that's actually a pretty healthy boost there. So okay, I'll relent a little bit here on SDS. I thought that they were just going to give him some minor stuff. It's not their fault that 3, 10, 5, and 6 only gets him 1 overall. I guess I'm just surprised on that. But I think he needs a revamp anyway because I think his defense is better than what they give him. I don't think he's like a stud defender, but I don't see him being awful as a defender either. But this works. If he keeps hitting, then he can get a boost. Same with Kyle Lewis. They're really making Kyle Lewis earn it. And all he does is hit every single week. And I had him for like a big boost last week. I tamped it down this week. I had him only going to 72. I was still too high by 4 freaking points. But I'm gonna chill. Until he has like an insane week where he hits like 4 homers, I'm just gonna chill on it. Keon Broxton, Luis Gonzalez are the new cards added. And then right field, Rafael Ortega's the only new guy, and then we got Mookie. Now, I don't know if they closed the update on Wednesday. I don't know if they snuck back in there and got this boosted up for Mookie Betts based on the 3-homer game last night. I'm fine with it if they did, but you see the switch they made here. They brought Bellinger out of 90 range, and they moved Mookie up to a 92. So if you jumped in and got a few Mookies on the cheap yesterday, I only got 1, but I only paid $11,000 for it, and then I sold them for $40,000 today. So that was a great move. And I saw that in my Discord, so big thanks to my Discord for recommending that. Swooped in, made a nice little profit, and got out. And then, yeah, Bellinger had to go down, though. He really is struggling, so I totally get it. Harpsichord goes up another couple points. And the fact that he's hitting for batting average, he could be in the 90s range very soon, too. And you could do the same sort of thing as you're doing with... In fact, you could do it ahead of time now because he's probably still pretty cheap. You could put a couple off to the side, and then if he goes into the 90 range, you go ahead and sell those at a big profit. Now, worst case, because I don't think he's that expensive. In fact, I'll look him up real quick right now while we're here. But if he's just over base price for diamonds, which a lot of these sub 90 diamonds are because they're in the market so often, then it's kind of a no risk investment at that point. Let me see what his price is, or at least a very low risk. He might have gone up a little bit being an 87 now, but no, not really. I mean, you can put in an order now for about 5,200. And so worst case is he doesn't ever go up to 90 and you just quick sell and you lost a few hundred. But the upside is that he goes to 90, 91 and shoots up to like 30K for a little while. Because we saw Judge go way up and then his price leveled back out. So it's a quick move that you have to make, but it's certainly possible. And that might be something that you consider with Harpsichord. This one, was as obvious as Soto, I think. It's a 4-point boost. It's a hefty boost, but he's been the best hitter in baseball thus far. He's been out of his mind. Conforto finally got his boost. We kind of had him for it last week, and he did. Same with Yastrzemski, the two Mikes here, Michael and Mike. And they both got it. Again, you just got to be patient sometimes. And all that did last week when they didn't get it was allowed you to maybe get a few more shares. Now, they didn't really tank in price, neither of them, but they kind of went down to like the 700s range. So if you really believed in them, you could just get a few more shares. Those shares were only going to pay off like 300, but at least you could have gotten a few more if you weren't deterred by them not getting their 80s. This is a big position change. Obviously, he moves out of SP into right field, and he becomes a BR god because he's a silver now. So you got that big arm out in right field. He crushes. And by the way, don't even worry about the 58-47 against lefties. He's one of those cards that just, there's something about the way he hits, at least for me, that the ratings don't even matter. But at the very worst, he's going to dominate righties for you and play decent outfield with that huge arm and some decent speed. And then Hunter Renfroe goes down a couple points. He's back to being Hunter Renfroe. This is what he looked like last year, or the year before last year, really, when he wasn't hitting for any average whatsoever. His defense is still great, though, and he's absolutely a BR god because look at that defense to go with the power. Will Myers goes up. Will Myers is on the hold for gold track. Now, he's not my most confident one because he is volatile, and I do worry a bit about the batting average because, in fact, even you see here, he goes -5 against lefties because he's not hitting for great average against lefties. But his power's been there. He's striking out a bit less, and so there, you definitely have to consider him as a gold. But if I'm ranking them, which I need to do, I know I said I was going to do a hold for gold list this week, which I didn't get to, but I will do that. He'll be kind of in the mid to lower end. I can see it, but I'm not getting like Luke Voigt level shares of him. Austin Slater's a guy kind of like Dylan Moore and Robbie Grossman, who's been a fantasy god out of nowhere. He's got 3 homers, 5 steals. 5 steals leads the league right now. There's 4 guys with 5 steals. 2 of them are on San Diego. Tatis, Pham, Slater, and Andres Jimenez. But yeah, Slater gets a real nice boost. He did get nicked the other day, and he had to come out. I don't think he's not on the IL though, so hopefully he avoids an IL stint because he's been crushing it. I mean, if he keeps hitting the way he has been now, of course he can go silver. I think he'll level out a bit, but there is still some silver potential. But I would not overly invest in Austin Slater. I haven't deep dove enough to know exactly what we're dealing with under the hood, so I don't want to put out a recommendation that he's going to go 3 more points anytime soon. But he is hitting the cover off the ball, and he deserved this upgrade. So there we go. That's the roster update. Third one. We finally got downgrades, and they were big. A lot of big movement here. I love what SDS is doing with the weekly moves, being aggressive. It's a lot of fun. It's creating a lot of different buying opportunities for us. I will have that hold for gold video out either over the weekend or early next week, and we'll keep investing. If your guy didn't get gold this week, don't be deterred, Zach Gallen, folks. Don't be deterred, Brian Anderson, Daniel Murphy, Luke Voigt. Hold or buy more because none of those guys have done anything wrong. They're going to get theirs, especially if they keep performing. And I like all 4 of those off the top of my head to keep performing, and we'll get into others later. Thank you so much for watching. Hit a like, hit a subscribe. Come out to Twitch, twitch.tv/Spore. We do this every Friday. Again, except next Friday. I have to go to my mom's. Sorry. But thank you so much for watching.